now and then.
Yeah. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. We're gonna kill a little bit of time talking about, cooking a little bit. But before we go any further, I'll have Jewel introduce herself. Jewel, introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the US Busters Midweek Podcast. I am Joe Riley, I'm an star. And before we get into gaming, we might get into cooking a little.
That's right. And of course, it's me, your host, Mr. Red Fox. Since Jewel, the reason she was running a little bit late is because she was cooking a new fish for her family, salmon. I guess I can give some cooking tips for cooking salmon. If you have a grill, you can always try smoking it on a cedar plank. Basically, if you go to a hardware store or any like higher end cooking store, you can find cedar planks. You soak them overnight, and then you take them out. You put your salmon fillet on the cedar plank. If it's a small cedar plank, if you've got like a large, because sometimes if you go to Costco, you can find big half fillets of salmon. You get a big cedar plank and you put it on your grill, and basically as the cedar plank chars and starts to smoke, the salmon is lightly perfumed with the cedar smoke, and it basically turns into essentially semi-smoked salmon. The heat isn't actually cooking the fish. It's a combination of the heat and the smoke. So, and it's fucking delicious. I mean, basically what I like to do with salmon when I cook it is, when I grill it, is I'll basically put it on the low end, let it cook for a while, and then I'll take that salmon and shred it off of the skin and put it in make tuna pasta salad, or I'll just put it on bagels.
Need to know.
Bagels or cream cheese?
B.O.B., the fish is finally done.
All right. Okay, I guess she'll be back. So yeah, salmon is friggin' delicious. One of the great foods that most people don't even, eat that much. But with that being said, I guess we can talk about what we'll be talking about in this week's podcast. We're mostly going to be talking about, what would be our ultimate genre game. So basically, essentially, what would be our ultimate genre game? This could be anything. This could be ultimate fighting game, ultimate beat 'em up, ultimate racing game, ultimate kart racing game, ultimate arcade sim, whatever. So, as you probably might or might not already know, we do not we don't do news stories in the middle of the week. We don't. Our Wednesday cast is mostly pop culture type stuff. So while we're sitting there talking mad, just going over stuff, I guess, while we're waiting for the rest of the cast to get back in, I guess we can talk about essentially, I guess we can answer some of the viewer-subscribed questions from previous casts. So, one of the questions that we get a lot, that I've gotten via email and stuff like that is, what encompasses my collection of video games? Well, I have never counted all the games I have, but I can tell you the general games that I have for each of my consoles. So, For the NES/Famicom, I'm putting them together because basically a lot of the games are the same. I have a Little Samson from Japan for the Famicom. I have a converter that lets me play it on my NES. I also have a Famicom, but one of the controllers is broken, so I can't play single-player games. Like the Player One controller thing is broken, so I got to get that fixed. I also have a let's see, for the NES. I have the classic Nintendo black box games for the NES. I have, your Mario, your Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt combo. I have Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, Legend of Zelda 2, River City Ransom, Double Dragon. I do not have Double Dragon 2 or 3 because I don't like Double Dragon 3. And 2, I've always wanted to get, but I can never seem to find it for a reasonable price where I am. Like, if I want to get it, I have to go on eBay, and I don't want to do eBay. What else? I've got, for my NES, I've got Shatterhand. I've got Adventure Island. I've got Mighty Final Fight, which is basically like a weird hybridization between Final Fight and
Street Fighter game?
Well, no. Mighty Final Fight is a hybridization between Final Fight. Like it's Final Fight mixed with an RPG because as you defeat enemies, you get you level up and get new abilities. It's weird. It's a weird game. It's a weird game. But I have it. I got it because at the time I was on my Final Fight craze. Because I love beat 'em ups. I like games because beat 'em ups you can sit down, you can play through them in like 30 or 40 minutes, right?
Depending on the game.
Well, Capcom beat 'em ups. Like there's some beat 'em ups that are long as hell. Like they need a save.
I said your results may vary because of whichever game that you're working with.
Yeah. But Capcom typically had short beat 'em ups. Like Final Fight 1, you can beat in like 30 minutes.
I was about to say, the Capcom beat 'em ups, they're like watching a TV series.
Yeah, they're short. They're to the point. You've maybe got 6 or 7 stages. You get to the end, and that's it. Now, then you've got the opposite end of the spectrum, like your River City Ransom, which is a long beat 'em up. Like that game needs a save system because basically, like not only can you level up.
I was gonna say it's a movie, right?
Well, not only can you level up, but it's long. Like there's multiple areas. Dang. You gotta grow your character. You gotta upgrade your abilities.
You gotta shop for it.
Yeah, you gotta grind. It's just it's you gotta put time into it. You gotta put time. Double Dragon's kind of short, but the pacing is kind of slow. Final Fight, like people just don't realize just how well balanced Final Fight was, because the first Final Fight.
I get what you're getting at. I'm just thinking of how to describe it in certain ways. Like the Final Fight series is like watching a TV series. Double Dragon is like a movie, while something like River City Ransom is an RPG.
Basically, yeah. Except I would flip Final Fight and Double Dragon. Double Dragon has a very deliberate pace. Like it's a very kind of slow, deliberate game. Even the arcade version isn't fast. Final Fight is actually kind of fast. It's like a movie. It starts from one point. Like Mayor Mike Hager's daughter gets kidnapped. Mm-hmm. He calls her boyfriend and her boyfriend and his daughter's boyfriend's friend. They band together with the mayor to beat the shit out of everybody involved, fighting their way downtown to the villain's penthouse apartment. Villainous penthouse.
And gives him a one-way ticket out of town.
And Cody uppercuts the motherfucker through a plate glass window, which is not a fair and equitable punishment. You kidnap somebody, and that's bad, but you uppercutted a dude through a plate glass window from the top floor of a skyscraper. That is...
As I said, he sent him away.
That's
in a
fucked up.
hearse.
Yeah. People like I see Capcom keeps on doing all this weird shit where they're like now Cody is the mayor of Metro City. I'm like, dude, he murdered somebody. He straight up murdered a dude. I mean, sure.
I think Mike Hager. I think the former mayor, had something to do with that.
No, but I mean, canonically, Mike Hager helped do the fighting. So did Guy. But the dude who murdered somebody is Cody. Here's the thing, okay? Those other people that they fight in Final Fight, like, you could just say, yeah, the bodies disappear, but maybe they just beat them into submission. But if you uppercut a dude through a plate glass window from the top floor of a skyscraper,
that's a no revive.
Yeah, that poor bastard's dead. Kenoshi, are you in?
I was about to say, who you're smashing.
Oh, okay. But I mean, basically, what I'm saying is this: like Final Fight, like Final Fight's kind of like you can sit down, you can play through it in 30 minutes. It's like an OVA, right? It's like a OVA. It's like one of those one-shot animes that they show where it's like, okay, here's the story. It's got a beginning, middle, and end. We're not trying to make a series. We're just, here it is. And I appreciate that. Because, like, even though I love RPGs, I like those 80-hour RPGs back in the day where you can just sit down and, dive into it.
Sometimes you want to beat something in the face and get it over with.
Exactly. I mean, this is the reason why I'm not a huge fan of the RPG-ish Castlevanias. No, the RPG-ish Castlevanias. Because they take too long.
Oh, the Metroidvania jokes. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
like, they take too... It's like, look, listen, okay? I love RPGs, but sometimes I don't want to dive into an RPG. Because to me, an RPG isn't worth playing if it doesn't have 40 to 80 hours of gameplay. Like, if I can beat an RPG in under 40 to 80 hours, like, in like a day, I'm sorry, your RPG is not that good.
I was going to say, don't forget New Game Plus.
Yeah, and you don't have a New Game Plus. Like, that's just like, now I'm like, if you don't have a New Game Plus, I'm just not interested. I'm sorry, I know some people are going to get mad. Oh, how dare you? No. If you don't have a New Game Plus, I'm not interested.
I mean, seriously, how the heck are you supposed to have fun beating up somebody if you're level 99?
Well, for me, I just like the idea of coming back and beating the shit out of everybody. Because Chrono Trigger did that. And it was awesome. It's like, after you went through all of that shit to grind and get your characters, because here's the thing, the first time you play Chrono Trigger, you're not gonna be at level 99. Like, basically, you're gonna have to go through 4 or 5 playthroughs to get all your characters to 99. But
and I was gonna say that if anything, you probably be at level 60 when you defeat the first time.
No, normally I grind a little bit in my first playthrough of Chrono Trigger if I start a new save. Normally I'm like around level 70, 71, between 70 to 74 for my characters. And then the second...
Really?
I grind.
I usually hit 65 before I get there.
No, I grind because there's a certain area in the game where you can fight certain enemies and they'll give you more experience. And basically, like I go there, I come back, I go there again, and I just keep on going there until they stop giving experience. That's boosts me up, and then because here's the thing, Chrono Trigger is a great RPG because you really don't have to grind, but I do it anyway just because I like being OP as fuck. Because basically it breaks the game. Like, okay, there's a part in Chrono Trigger where there's several fights that you're quote-unquote supposed to lose. But if you win, it changes up everything. One of them is the first time you fight Lavos, the first time he's summoned. The second one is the Dalton fight on his giant airship. On his airship, where basically like he's supposed to knock you out, but if you defeat him, he runs away, or he summons his Golem King or whatever, and if you can defeat that, it's like it changes the sequence of events after that. And I like stuff like that. I like breaking. I like games that don't have unbeatable
bosses
where it's like, oh, if you're good enough, you can actually change how things are done. I think more RPGs should do that.
Yeah, I agree, because if anything, there's a few RPG tropes that can bug somebody, even if they have high tolerance for it. And I think one of mine, yeah, it is one of mine. The bosses that give you the big middle finger, even if you did defeat them.
Yeah, yeah. Like Skies of Arcadia, one of my favorite games of all time.
Final Fantasy IX comes to mind with that one.
Yeah. But the thing that gets me the most with Skies of Arcadia is that there's this one boss fight in the game where even if like you're kicking this guy's ass, but when you do the finishing blow, he gets back up and keeps on fighting, and it's a fight you're supposed to lose. And I'm like, come on, man, don't do this. This game was so good because everything else about Skies of Arcadia, you can tell it was. Skies of Arcadia is an RPG made by people who love RPGs. It's a love letter. It's an RPG made by people who love RPGs, and you can tell. But that one thing, I'm just like, come on, don't give me an unwinnable boss fight. That's just lazy. Don't do it. Don't do it. I have the higher ground. Yeah, I just like saying that. That's one of the shittiest lines in Revenge of the Sith, but it's
it's appropriate.
It's appropriate. I have the higher ground. Don't do it. I have the higher ground. It's so terrible. But yeah. So like for being so into RPGs, it's like occasionally I like to play games that I can just sit down and play through like 30 minutes to an hour, you know, where I can sit down. Like that's why I like Super Castlevania 4, because I can sit down, I can play through that game, no problem, unless I'm playing the PC version, which has lag as fuck. But like the console version.
How bad?
Well, having played Super Castlevania 4 so many times on my SNES and on the Nintendo Virtual Console and the Wii U Virtual Console and the Wii Virtual Console, like I know that game. Like I know how to play that game very well. I know how to do the jumps. Like I'm intimately, and yet the same reactions that I have that basically can get me through no deaths in Super Castlevania 4 on like hardware on PC is a motherfucker. And I know it's not the specs of my PC, because the specs of my PC are it's a relatively high spec PC, so it's not the specs, it's that it's not very well coded. But this is Konami, and they've done this with other games. Like for some reason I've discovered that Japanese developers really don't try that hard on PC ports. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They're like, whatever. Which I don't like. Like I'm like, you know, like I'm not saying every port should be the same, but how the hell are you gonna put a game on a system and you want people, like a lot of these PC ports, they want people to pay like a decent amount of money. It's not like ultra discounted, and they put like a half-ass port on the system. Kind of like how they do with Nintendo games. Basically. For all intents and purposes. Kind of like how Project Grid is supposed to be coming out, I think next month. And it's a game that was out for the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Now, the Switch, spec-wise, is more powerful than the Xbox 360 or the PS3. And yet, it runs shittier on the Switch than it does on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. I have a problem with that.
Makes me wonder, who does the optimization?
Well, I mean, it has two modes. It has performance mode, which is at 720p, 30 frames per second. And then quality mode, where it looks better and it's at 1080p, 60 frames per second, but it's got shittier graphics. Like it's the sprites are kind of it's at 720p, 60 frames per second, or 1080p, 30 frames per second. And I'm like, come on, man, don't do this to me. Like, I mean, this is one of the reasons why a lot of the a lot of the multi-plats that are hitting the Switch, I just get on PC.
Because they don't optimize.
Well, no, because I mean, the way I feel about it, and I know this might sound a little shallow, but I spent like initially my friend was going to build a PC for me, and he was going to do it for $1,000. No, he's going to do it for $1,200. I spent like $100 less and got this PC, and it has comparable, if not slightly better specs than what he was going to build me. But I mean, I spent that much money. Like when you spend that much money on something, you want to kit it out. You want to have like high quality shit on it. Like I spent what $300 on my Switch, and I mean, yeah, some of the games, the first party and second party exclusives are great, but a lot of those third party games are fucking trash on the Switch.
I was about to say, second party and first party, you could expect good quality.
Yeah.
Third party, are you a betting person?
I say it's about 60-40. Like 60% of the games on the Switch for third party are either like bare minimum ports or subpar. The other 40% pretty good, which is, I mean, that's still a better split than the Wii U or the Wii, where the Wii was getting like 80% of the third party ports were shit, 20% were good. The Wii U, like 90% of the third-party ports. Well, actually, no. The Wii U had like 30% of the ports of the third-party ports on the Wii U were actually pretty good, but 70% were shit. So the Switch is a little bit better.
I was about to say, if you're putting it like that, then it's odd that the Switch is a bit of a downward curve. Is marking a downward curve of sorts.
Well, like, I mean, it seems
we're getting from 90 to 80 or 75 to about 60.
Well, it seems worse because there's more third-party ports on the Switch. That's the thing. Like, there's more games coming to the Switch, so it's kind of like this, okay? The Wii U seemed like it had a better quality library because there weren't as many games for the system, but the games that were there were a higher quality because it was a smaller amount but higher quality. Versus a lot of like it's kind of like the PS1 versus the N64. The PS1 had a far more diverse library, but also had a lot of shit because it just had more games. Whereas the N64 had a smaller library, but a lot of those games were high quality because it used cartridge technology, so you couldn't even get your game on the system unless it had, you know, some quality to it. And I'm okay with that. Like, some people don't like that. They're like, Nintendo shouldn't have had they shouldn't have had cartridges, they shouldn't have quality. I wish Nintendo would bring back some quality control, because some of the games that are on the Switch, I'm like, this shit shouldn't be here.
Yeah, but then again, that's sadly business. That you gotta work with the trash in order to get something.
I guess. But anyway, so what you been playing?
Me, I've been getting my Smash on a little and getting ready to download a demo to try to see about a certain game.
And which demo is that?
11S.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
So if anything, I got a Tetris tournament coming up soon, and I gotta get ready to try to at least earn that too.
All right.
What about you?
I've been playing. Rogue. I've been playing. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, which is the prequel to Rebel Galaxy. I'm gonna do a first impressions of that game. It's pretty awesome. Like if the first Rebel Galaxy was basically space truckers, this game is more like a Wing Commander Light. I'm playing it on normal mode because like I haven't played a space sim in a long time, and I don't have my joystick, my flight joystick, or my paddles, or any of my peripherals to play a sim. So I'm just playing it old school style right now.
Play it raw.
Yeah, basically. I'm also playing Rad, which I was gonna get on the Switch, but then I realized the Switch version was literally like $39.99, whereas the PC version was $20. So, or maybe $29.99. Like the Switch version was more expensive, so I was like, "Fuck that! I'm not."
I was gonna say the Switch tax strikes again.
Well, I mean, I'm just like the Switch is one of the more popular consoles out, and like, why are you overcharging people? Like, it should be comparable pricing to what people are paying on other platforms. But Rad is actually a really good game. It has some of the best, like, 80s music ever. It's totally rad. Pun intended. Trinell83 says, I've been
Cowabunga.
playing... Yeah, he's saying, I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, loving it so far. Yeah, I was looking at that game, but then, like, when I heard more information about it, I was like, I'm Fire Emblemed out. Like I've bought every Fire Emblem game that's come out since Fire Emblem Awakening, plus ones before that. Like I bought the Fire Emblem games that were on the Game Boy Advance. I bought the Fire Emblem game that was out for the GameCube and the Wii. Like I'm Fire Emblemed out. I need a break from Fire Emblem. And then with the aggressive pricing that Nintendo had with their DLC for Fire Emblem Awakening and Fire Emblem Fates and Fire Emblem Gaiden, like I can't. I was like, I'm done. I'm burnt out on Fire Emblem. And then Fire Emblem Heroes, I need a break. So
yeah, Fire Emblem is getting around a lot of places.
Yeah, I needed a break from Fire Emblem, so this works out really well for me. Like I finally get a break from Fire Emblem, and I can go do other shit. But that being said, I guess we can move on to the next topic before we get to the main topic. So the next topic is the fun topic of this podcast. What game would you be? What game genre would you be okay? Just like we saw platformers kind of go away, 2D platformers kind of go away. Then we saw 3D platforms kind of go away. Then we saw the beat 'em up go away. What game genre would you be okay seeing going away for 2 or 3 gens? Like you're like, you know what? If you don't come back to like we're gaming where they literally plug us into the Matrix and we're playing first person, I'll be okay not playing this for a while. So what game would that be? Where you're just like, you know what? I gotta let it go.
Huh. Mine's going into first-person shooters. I'd say platformers, which is oddly enough.
3D platformers or 2D?
3D.
All right. Okay, I'll give it to you. Trinell83 says, I agree the DLC practices of the 3DS games were egregious. Yeah, they were. I mean, that's one of the reasons, like, literally, for Fire Emblem Awakening, I got the 2 pieces of DLC you got for free for buying it, and then I got 1 piece of DLC that I bought, because I was like, well, you know, I'll support the game. But then when I saw all the prices, and the DLC never went on sale. Like, it was just there. They were like, yeah, it's $3.99 for this map, $8.99 for this map, $14.99 for this shit. I'm like, come on, man.
Your wallet ran for the hills when it saw all those prices.
Well, it wasn't even the money. It was just the fact that they were just, like, these arbitrary fucking... Like, I would rather Nintendo say, look, $29.99 or $39.99, you get the season pass, you get everything as it comes out. I'd rather do that than have someone nickel and dime me over, because they did the same thing with Smash Brothers with that nickel and dime approach with the fucking DLC. It was ridiculous.
And that's before, I'm saying this now, before you get into the costumes.
Yeah, and that was just with the DLC. Then you get with the I was like, come on, man. Like, I mean, this was one of the times where I was like, Nintendo, you're fucking up. Trenell83,
Yeah.
he says first-person shooters go away. Well, that's the thing. First-person shooters are starting to go away. At least the dude bro shooter. Like, I have nothing against first-person shooters. Dude bro shooters I'm tired of. Like, I'm tired of these.
Yeah, I mean, they get annualized for beep's sake.
Yeah, unless, like, okay, like, if they brought back Duke Nukem, I wouldn't be angry about it. Because Duke Nukem always had a kind of a satirical sense of humor about it.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Capture the Babe for a joke.
Or even boy. John St. John with his voice, shake it, baby. I'm gonna rip off your head and shit down your neck, and he literally does it. Like, that was cool. Like, I have nothing against Duke Nukem.
We want shooters that have humor and have personality.
Yeah, I mean, either you're gonna have humor or you're gonna have personality. And I know people are gonna be like, what about Halo? Halo revitalized first-person shooters. Yeah, but if you ever played Halo the single player, there is some funny shit in that game. Like, if you kill a character, one of the grunts will be like, oh no, you killed Blip Block, no! Like, there's a sense of humor to Halo, or at least there used to be.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Halo represents South Park.
Yeah, so
that is something that you cannot get in some of these games.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have a first-person shooter and there's a sense of humor, I'm cool with it. But with that being said, I guess we can move on to the fun topic, which is the fun topic.
We are on the fun topic.
Well, not the fun topic. The main topic. The main topic of this podcast is what would be your ultimate insert genre game here? And we'll describe it, tell how we'd make it, how we'd budget it if possible, what our target audience would be, what would be gameplay mechanics, that type of thing. And I'll go last since Jewel's a lady and let her go first. So go ahead, Jewel.
How kind of you. And personally, I actually go for something that probably would be up Red's alley or some other people's alley. I think the fighting game mechanic, either the fighting game or the beat 'em ups.
All right.
In a sense, I actually want to fuse them.
Fuse them together. A fighting game and a beat 'em up together. Oh, that sounds cool. We have the technology to do that now, and it wouldn't be awkward.
Yeah, I mean, how come it hasn't been done before? Especially for some of these 3D fighter games. Tekken has tried it, but I don't think they really dove into it good.
I'd be cool with it.
And you got everything is in a sense set. You have your characters, a vast variety. You could have them do some of their supers, though you might have to button adjust for some of their good moves. All you need is to set up some mooks, some idiot bosses that need a taste of whoop, and you got yourself a beat 'em up game that's in a fighting game, and you can actually, and if you want to change some things, why not put it in a fighting arena and duke it out?
Okay, I have an idea. Just an idea, right? What if they did a game? What if Capcom did a game where they combined Final Fight with Street Fighter? Since they already take place in the same universe, where like basically you go around the world on the airplanes and all that shit, Japan, USA, USSR, that type of thing. But when you go there, it's not just, you start fighting. You go there and it turns into a beat 'em up where you fight your way through all these like villains, and then once you get to the boss, then it turns into your traditional 2D fight, like old school style. But while the fight's going on, it converts as the round goes on to 2D, 3D, 2D, 3D, not 3D, but like that 2.5D that from a Final Fight game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That actually sounds pretty sweet.
That could revitalize Street Fighter because it's been fucking up for.
I would say since since they got a rocky start on 4, and then with their Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, actually, 4 wasn't that bad.
I said it's 4. A rocky start.
Yeah, 4. I mean, like 4 was like 4. I would say one of the flaws of 4 was that it was really fucking slow. Like it was obscenely slow, but aside from that, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. 5 was where they really fucked up, because basically 5 was missing major shit that should have been there day one. I don't know why it wasn't there. Well, I know why it wasn't there, because Sony helped fund that game to be made, and Sony fucked up because Sony's starting to get arrogant, and they're gonna have to get slapped down soon enough. We will cover that news this Saturday. Because Saturday is news day on the channel.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Don't remind me.
Yeah,
especially since this is on movie and gaming.
Yeah, Sony just keeps on fucking up. They can't help it. But with that being said, I guess so basically it would be a combination between a fighting game and a beat 'em up. So would you still have like bonus stages? Maybe play with the bonus stage. So like you have barrels coming towards you, but it's like the perspective shifts because you have 2D and 2.5D.
I would say maybe have a set of mini games like the barrel game, maybe a bit of a Space Invaders game, and maybe one of the favorites, break the car.
Yeah, and don't censor it. The dude's got to come in and say, "Oh my God, I just bought this car." Then you break his car again. He's like, "No, my insurance just paid for a new car. Why? Why?"
I was gonna say, I find it funnier saying, "Oh my car."
Yeah, "Oh my car" was cool, but him saying, "Oh my God," and I'm like, because really, if someone smashes your car like that, like literally a dude beats the shit out of your car with his bare hands, I'm not gonna say "Oh my car," I'm gonna say "Oh my God, how'd you do that?" Trinell 83 says, "I would like a Metroid fused with a beat 'em up." Trinell, this is your ultimate game, but they already did that. It was called Metroid Other M. And that game sucked. No, I know some people love that Metroid game. I am not one of those people. I hate Metroid Other M. Metroid Other M is the only Metroid that I basically played. Metroid Other M is the only Metroid game that I bought, I played, I beat, and then I returned it back to GameStop. Like, I don't return Nintendo first-party games, but that one was one where I was like, you know what, fuck this game.
It's rare that a Nintendo game even gets returned in this day and age.
I was like, I do not want this shit on my shelf.
But that's one of those games.
Yep. Like that song, "Just One of Those Days," just one of those games that I was just like, I can't take this shit. I can't. No. Yeah. But hey, man, if you like Metroid fused with beat 'em up, knock yourself out. So I guess since so you have anything else you want to add about what you want to do with your 2D, your beat 'em up mixed with a fighter?
The only other thing I might go into is wondering if to go the way of Final Fights or River City Ransom.
Well, River City Ransom is good. It has that whole what's the word I'm looking for?
Thickness.
Well, River City Ransom adds more RPG-like mechanics. Like, basically, River City Ransom was Yakuza before Yakuza. Like the idea of going around this city and beating the shit out of people and picking up random objects to beat the shit out of people with it. And then, like, if you want to gain experience, you get money from enemies, but they also give you experience. Plus, you can go into stores and eat food in order to get experience. Like, Yakuza did that. But River City Ransom was doing that shit before, which tells you just how forward-thinking Technos was back in the day.
Yeah. The reason why I said I wasn't sure to go Final Fight or River City Ransom with it.
I say take both of
But
them.
why is that?
Yeah. Like, because one of the problems of Final Fight is that I noticed is that you get weapons in Final Fight, and some characters have synergy with weapons. They added this in Final Fight 3, where certain characters have certain weapons that, like, they get synergy with. So they do more damage. They get a special animation when they attack enemies with said weapon. Like, Guy uses nunchucks. He does massive damage with them. Dean uses a hammer. I don't know why Dean got a hammer, because he's like Dean is like a mutant or something, because he can like electrify the hammer to do extra damage to enemies, which is kind of weird. Mike Hagger, obviously a lead pipe. He will beat the shit out of you with a lead pipe, which is already dangerous enough, but he's got synergy with it, so he does more damage with it. And then Lucia, the cop, she gets like a tonfa, or one of those collapsible police batons, and she just beat the shit out of people with it. Like, now that I'm older and I'm a young black man, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with a cop beating people with a collapsible baton. Maybe that's just me. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe add that weapon mechanic with, the leveling up mechanic. So like you can buy weapons and have them equipped, and then like if you get knocked out, they don't disappear,
Yeah. I mean, some of these weapons, they don't last long after you try to grab them.
Yeah. Streets of Rage had the same issue where you'd get this awesome weapon and it's like, well, I can't keep it. Just lose my shit.
I mean, the moment that you get your stuff and beaten out of you and lose your toy, that makes you have an inner rage when you see it go bye-bye.
Yeah, especially if it's a good weapon. Now, that's what I liked about Double Dragon, was that, like, if you got a weapon and you really knew how to use it, you could keep that shit for a long time. Like, almost you get to the end of the level. Which I liked. So I guess anything else you want to add about your
I think
ultimate
that's about
genre?
it.
Okay, I guess
At least as far as I can think of it. Besides, if anything, you did give me a bit of a spark, so I do owe you some.
All right, then I guess it's my turn, and obviously I'm going with an RPG, but I'm going with what I would consider to be, to me, my ultimate RPG. So what I mean by this is an RPG that basically would never probably get made because the scale and scope, just people...
It's too huge.
It's too huge, but I'm gonna lay it out anyway. All right, so basically I would do a single-player RPG that has the scope of an MMO. Hear me out, okay? The game would be set in an alternate universe, in an alternate world, where you've got like maybe 5 continents, but initially in the initial game you only start out with one continent with like 5 different races you could choose, and then with each expansion you add another continent with new factions, new quests, and all that type of cool shit. But this game would be very different than other RPGs. See, other RPGs fall into one of 3 categories. You get the pseudo RPGs like your Pokemon or your Yokai Watches, where basically it's like they give you the illusion of choice, but you're really being led down a path that the developer wants you to go. All right. Then you've got your Western RPGs that are like your Fallouts, not the Bethesda Fallouts, but like your old school Interplay Fallouts or Obsidian's Fallout New Vegas, where you have an end goal, but you have all this side shit that you can do that changes how you're going to get to that end goal and what the after effects of the game is going to be. Then you've got your truly free RPGs where the sky's the limit, and you don't really get those on PC. You get that in D&D. Like anyone who's played a tabletop role playing game with dice has had a game that's gone off the rails because the people playing the game were like, "Fuck it, I want to kill the bartender." Why?
Because he's an asshole.
Because I want to. I'm an assassin. That's what I do. I assassinate people. You know? I would combine the latter two and not the first one. Imagine, if you will, an RPG where you choose one of 5 races with, sub races in there. And basically that gives you a reputation system, except for humans, because fuck human beings. But everyone else has a reputation system because. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put mine on hold and let you go. What would be your ultimate
fighting game? Let's see.
No, your ultimate video game.
Ultimate video game?
Yeah, your ultimate video game.
Yeah, I took a 2-for-1 infusion.
Probably from Ready Player One.
No, I mean your ultimate. What would be your ultimate genre game? Like, if you had your druthers and you could, like, what your idea of the ultimate genre game? It could be a racing game. It could be a beat 'em up. It could be an RPG. It could be a puzzle game. Whatever you'd like.
Let's see, something like Mugen, but on a much larger scale.
All right.
Oh boy, that was small.
You're going. I mean, that's huge because Mugen has everything. Like,
I was about to say, it has all the possibilities.
Because the Mugen, if I remember correctly, the Mugen engine is open source, so there's people running it that have got like characters in there that should never really be in a fighting tournament with normal people. Like, they've got like Goku, Optimus Prime, He-Man, the Lion-O from Thundercats. If you can basically rip the cell shaded look, you can put it in Mugen. Luffy from One Piece, Naruto. I'm like, God damn, like it's like the bootleg Smash Brothers, but it's not bootleg because it's not official. It's like where the fuck do you come from?
And their sprites were ripped from custom sprite websites.
Yeah, it's. But you know what? I like seeing people play Mugen because it's just so. It's
chaotic.
It's so off the chain. It's like It's like Ninku from Ninku. Where the fuck did you come from? They uploaded me in the game. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Who are you? One Punch Man. How did you get here? It's the Incredible Hulk from Marvel vs. Capcom. Where the fuck you come from?
Some of those some of those battles are just to WTF.
It's Alicia from
Darkstalkers.
From Darkstalkers. What are you doing here? Alicia's the kitty cat. Yeah, Alicia kitty.
Oh, so many possibilities combined into that, and I'm the one that came up with the idea of a Final Fight plus Street Fighter like idea.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Mugen is off the chain. I like the idea of Mugen. I'm not sure I like, I don't know.
The reason why I kept mine in a more sensible box.
Yeah, I like the idea of a Mugen game, but, so basically it would be a Mugen game, but with a larger cast. And
also more official and more balanced roster.
So,
probably restricted to only mascot characters from various companies.
So would these be anime characters? Would these be video game characters? I mean, we already have kind of like the video game version. Why don't you do like anime mascots?
Not just both video games, anime, TV shows, and movie characters.
So basically all pop culture universes. So it would be, so you could get like a young Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi in here, and Superman and Batman, but it'd be like Tim Burton's Batman. And like 60s Spider-Man with the wing webbing between his armpits, and Astro Boy, but like old school Astro Boy, and Gigantor, and Gundam, and Macross, and Golgo 13.
Oh God.
Blackjack.
All those combinations. I bet you that if you put in nearly every character that was built for that game alone, you'd have your computer nearly crash on you with that.
Well, I mean, no, if you have a decent PC, you could run it. The only problem is getting all those rights, but this is the ultimate game. We don't care about rights.
I was thinking of the computer,
Rabbit.
not the rights.
Yeah, ask Jessica Rabbit. Have Jessica Rabbit in there too. Her fatality could be someone reaching into her brassiere, into her dress, and getting a bear trap put on their hand. Ah, she's like, yes, it's a booby trap. Nice, I like it. No, not the booby trap. Yes, the booby trap.
To be honest with you, I actually thought that you say send their heads into it and then have the booby trap go off.
No.
Oh God, that'd be a fatality.
I mean, I've seen some perverted Mugans, but I don't want to go perverted because that's too easy.
Yeah, that would be too easy. I didn't say how far it would go. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. But anyway, any other any other things you want to add to that?
Well, it's just going to be one character per company, so Superman and Batman cannot be in this game together. It's going to be either one, depending on who is the mascot for DC.
Well, I mean, personally, I would go with Superman over Batman because Superman's older, and he is kind of the
better
the first superhero. I mean, he is officially the first superhero, and plus, he has cooler theme music. I mean, I like the Batman theme from Danny Elfman, with the preamble.
But you gotta admit, Superman has a great song to him.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You can't beat the John Williams Superman march. You just can't. That shit sounds awesome. Like, I know some people say Superman's kiddie. I do not care. If you play that Superman theme, even if you're a grown-ass person, you get pumped up with that Superman march. It is so awesome. But that's neither here nor there. Kenoshi, try and get in now. But anyway, as we continue to go, anything else you want to add about
our ultimate video game?
Your ultimate... Well, you've already said Mugen, but anything you want to add to Mugen? Like, would you add a story mode, a beat-em-up mode, and an adventure mode where you go around doing stuff?
Let's see. I'm thinking about a story mode, though it's still in the works.
I mean, you could basically do what they did in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom.
Not having no story at all, it's just you.
Well, it kind of had a story. The two universes got smashed together and they had to fight it out. Or you could steal something, or you could subspace emissary that shit.
I was gonna say there was the character that ended all, which would be
Yami.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yami.
So if anything, hopefully we are not going to have that fighting game version of Yami.
I don't know. He still was a cheap bastard. Actually, Yami in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was more of a cheap bastard than he was in the Okami game. I'm like, he's not that bad in Okami after fighting him in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. And who would you get from Tatsunoko, Pinky? Would it be the guy from G-Force? I forgot his name. I just remember him being the dude from G-Force.
Probably.
Or was it be Kashan?
Probably Ego. Probably Ego.
All right.
Ego.
All right.
Or Gotcha Man.
Yeah, that's a dude from G-Force. I don't know. I'm down with all of it. I like it all.
Like Ken the Ego or Gotcha Man or Tatsunoko.
All right. Okay then. So with that being said, I guess we can move on to mine. So for
You were on the Ultimate RPG.
yes, the Ultimate RPG. Before Pinky came in, I said how basically how your choices would affect the overall game. So let's say, in a lot of RPGs, you have this thing where if you save this, you become a murder hobo. Like every character you see, you murder. Well, in this game, that might not be the thing you want to do, because here's the thing. You have reputation. If you go around murdering everybody, including people who might be innocent, or
key characters, for Pete's sake.
Or either innocent or breaking into people's houses and stealing shit out of their chests, which is a normal RPG trope. Yeah, let me just go in these people's houses and steal their shit. That actually affects your reputation. If you go into someone's house and you take stuff, you'll become a kleptomaniac, and people will know you for being a thief, and they'll put a bounty on your ass. If you go around becoming a murder hobo and just killing everything and everybody, even when they beg for mercy or ask for quarter or would rather go to jail, you'll be known as being a sociopathic murderer, and people will begin to hate you. I'll give you an example of this done in a lesser way. If you play Fallout New Vegas, one of the factions in the game is Caesar's Legion. Caesar's Legion practices slavery and rape and murder. They're just real assholes. But one of their big things is they're really into slavery. They capture people, put bomb collars around their neck, and turn them into slaves. Now, I hate slave owners in video games, and I don't like slave owners in real life. I don't like slavery.
Enough said.
But in Fallout New Vegas, the Caesar's Legion has been built up to be these unstoppable. They're madmen. But whenever I see them, they I'll talk to them, but then they say something to threaten me, and I'll pull out my gun, go into VATS, and shoot them in the head 5 times with the most powerful handgun in the game. I'm like, yeah, they aren't that tough. And so, whenever I see them, I just start killing them. So eventually, they get mad and they start sending hit squads after me. So I'll be walking along trying to do a side quest, and some Caesar's Legion dudes will run up on me and be like, "Yeah, you've been ordered to be killed by the Caesar. Die!" And they start trying to kill me. And they get progressively more badass as time goes on. Wouldn't it be cool to play an RPG that, let's say there's an empire in the southern part of the continent in the game that they're really into slavery and taking non-human slaves, and you're not down with that because your player character might be non-human themselves, and so you go out of your way to fuck with them and mess up their stuff. You become a menace to them. They will send people after you. Let's say other factions don't like them either. They'll help you out. They're like, no, he's not here. We don't know where he went. He disappeared. This isn't the person you're looking for. Waving their hands like a Jedi. Wouldn't that be an interesting game? But yeah, imagine an RPG where you could basically, for all intents and purposes, recruit any NPC. Not just the NPCs that people, typically think, I'm a knight. I was disgraced, but you helped me reclaim my honor, so now I'm going to join you. That farmer who sent you to kill 5 rabbits that were eating his crops, you can recruit him. He might have shitty stats, but you can recruit him.
Some of those ideas are just plain WTF, but fun at the same time.
Hey, don't disrespect the farmer. Remember Donald from Fire Emblem Awakening? He had shitty stats at first, but then he turned out to be one of the most OP broken ass characters in the entire game. He was, in some ways, he was even better than Robin. Even though I don't know why they could name that character that, because I did not name that character Robin. I did not use the default name for that character. So when they were like, "It's Robin," I'm like, "Who the fuck is that?" I don't know. I didn't name the character that. I don't know who the hell that is. But that's just me. I think that would be the ultimate RPG. And then basically, like, having a living, breathing world where your actions have consequences. Where, if you decide to, if you go on a killing spree murdering the shit out of local wildlife, let's say you kill all the rabbits trying to grind, in a starting area, the animals get hungry.
The population gets a little bit more unease.
So they spread out, yeah. Just simple things will cause an effect and multiple effects, like different things happen. I think that would be an awesome game. It would never get made because you would have to have so many intricate systems in place in order for this to work. But man, would it be fucking awesome if it did. At least to me. With that being said, anyone have anything else they want to bring up before we wrap things up?
I've got nothing else.
All right.
We got news, but we'll save it for Saturday.
Yeah, we got some news, and it is, oh Jesus, it's some bad shit. It's pretty bad, folks. A lot of people have been fucking up. Any movies anyone's been looking forward to?
Let's see if there's Ready or Not.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that Friday. Like, I took the day off. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that movie. I'm gonna go watch it and lose my damn mind because it looks fun as hell. Anything else anyone's looking forward to?
I think that's about it for August movies.
Oh, and obviously looking forward to It next month. It Chapter 2, yeah. September 14th. It Chapter 2. Yes, I want to see It Chapter 2. I just want to see It Chapter 2 because I saw the first one and I thought there were too many jump scares and I think they could upgrade that shit next time. I think they can make it better. So with that being said, that's the end.
Let's give the credits.
Yeah, that's the end of the podcast. Remember, you can rate, comment, share. Yeah, Trinell83 says they named him Robin because it was a unisex type of name, I think, on Fire Emblem Awakening. Yeah, I realized that. It's just I never realized that was the default name. So when they said, it's Robin, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I mean, it's the character from Fire Emblem Awakening, but I didn't know their default name was Robin. I thought that was kind of stupid. Yes, you can reach the channel at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com or at Twitter at Matthew Wesley at mrredfox91. And we also have cards on this video. So we have a poll for those of you who are watching where we will be figuring out what the fun topic should be next week. You have a choice between what's the darkest game you ever played?
I'll be out on that one.
Yeah. Dark is in, like, twisted, creepy, scary. And then, I forget what the other one is. But basically, take the poll, choose one of the two answers, figure it out. I also have a card where I'll be expounding upon the Google Stadia is essentially the Xbox whatever. Because basically, it's essentially the Xbox One reveal. Basically, I mean, we're not going to go into news, but here's the thing: Google had a announcement for Google Stadia, and I said this thing before, but I'm going to say it again, but be less vulgar. The Google Stadia is the equivalent of you going is the equivalent of you giving an interview for someone. And you looked at the resume and you were like, wow, everything on this resume looks really good. I'm going to hire this person. But then they sit down in the interview and they start talking and you realize this person is completely out of their fucking mind. I'm not going to hire this person. They talk themselves out of the job. Well, that's basically Google Stadia.
We could get more into that, but that's for another time.
Yeah, this is Saturday. So with that being said, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell icon so that you know when we're going live. Of course, I try to keep things regular. So every 7:30 to 9 o'clock typically, but sometimes we end earlier. 7:30 to 9 o'clock typically every Wednesday and Saturday, PM Eastern Standard Time. We have a podcast, typically between 3 to 4 members. If you would like to be a member of the cast, you can reach me through the previous aforementioned contacts. So with that being said, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace, good night, and
have responsibly.
Yeah, and fuck Sony, EA, and Google.
Woo!
Fuck them all.